You don't know infinite possibility. You don't understand what it means, infinite amount of beings and universes and complexity beyond your wildest dream. So you are being trained in infinity thinking.
The legendary ayahuasquero and resident medium here at Astral Squares.
Ooh, resident medium.
Kai Karrel, brother, thank you for being on.
Yeah, I use the word mediumship as spiritual growth. That's what that word means to me.
A lot of wild stuff has come through in these ceremonies, and it's been tough to navigate.
For a person to hold any kind of shamanic space, you have to have a teacher. You have to have guidance, you have to have study. If we're talking about ayahuasca as a sacrament, there are phases to the work. So you have calculators, weavers, lords of karma, they exist there. It's a realm. These are different layers.
And navigating those spaces no one talks about.
When we say mediumship, it implies that this body is a medium for something. It's an instrument.
We've encountered extraterrestrials, we've had surgeries happening. Can you explain what is going on there?
Planes of existence, parallel universes. If you only lived in a well, you can't understand an ocean.
And there was a fear there because I didn't understand what it was.
So there's so many different ways of how mediumship comes. Are you empowering it? Are you supporting it or shutting it down? Only thing that you want to do is ask without expectation.
Do you believe that mediumship is just a name for the evolutionary potential of humankind?
She really was like pulling me out of the mud and like making me like face a lot of that stuff. This is so wild. So can you explain how working with certain spirits, like, do they holding certain energy patterns or?
That's the best part of this.
Welcome to the Astral Squares podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Dahl.
And I'm Cody Blue. And if you like what we're doing here, please like, subscribe, rate, comment, smash that notification button. It helps us out a lot. And on today's episode, we have again our friend, the legendary ayahuasquero and medium and resident medium here at Astral Squares.
Ooh, resident medium.
Kai Karrel, brother, thank you for being on. Kai Karrel, everyone. Kai Karrel.
Thank you.
Yeah, give yourself a round of applause.
It feels good to be a resident medium.
Yeah, you're one of our reoccurring guests at this point, huh?
There's aliens here, so being a resident definitely helps.
Okay, this is how we would like to frame this episode. So every time we have you on, our favorite thing is we get to go into deep teachings. You know, it's not some superficial, stuff. Like, you really take us to the next level of direct communication and navigating spiritual communication. So we would like to set you do it wonderfully. Mm-hmm. So we want to set the stage by kind of explaining something that we've been going through when we're holding ceremonies, and see if you can explain what's going on and sort of guide us on how to take that next step forward. So in short, we did this work for a long time, and a lot of wild stuff has come through in these ceremonies. Everything from aliens to Dr. Cetos to
bug spirits or insectoids, I guess I called them.
Mm-hmm.
All sorts of stuff. The
praying mantis, probably.
Oh,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And,
jellyfish.
A lot of beetles. I've had like a centipede. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's some serpents. It's some wild stuff. It's been tough to navigate.
So I would say probably, very personal opinion, for a person to hold any kind of shamanic space, you have to have a teacher. You have to have a teacher, you have to have guidance, you have to have study. And I'm talking not about going to Peru for a weekend, but a continuous study. And even more so from my personal lineages that I work with, continuously. So it's not like I go to a retreat, I get a certificate shaman, and I'm a shaman. It doesn't work like that. It's a continuous study because you encounter different people, different entities, different beings, so it's a continuous study.
Things change, things evolve. We're trying to just follow the guidance, but it can be confusing sometimes. You'll do a ceremony, you get told to turn left. Do you then worship the left and it's all left? Or is it like in this moment we're turned left and then we wait for the next message? You know what I'm saying?
And then that's why when I say teacher in this respect, I actually do mean a human flesh and blood that you can ask these kind of questions to and really understands you, sees you in ceremony. So they understand, they see where you're at, what your level of consciousness, what you're able to call in and cannot. I'll give you a beautiful example. It happened to me in Brazil. One of the churches I work with there, they have a part of the ceremony they're actually calling suffering souls. Say, if they're suffering souls, it's called indoctrination of the soul. So suffering souls come. Some people, for the untrained eye, would look like they're being possessed or going through a really hard time. And then something happens. They say a prayer to them, or they take them to a certain place in the room, do something, and they release the spirit. So the medium is offering what we call charity for that suffering soul, taking them into that place. So I was so blown away that a person can be possessed, another person comes, says a prayer, and it's over. So I thought, wow, I would like to have this prayer, because if I ever encounter something like this, it's so easy to fix. So I went to my teacher and said, this prayer, can you give it to me? It says, next year. So I needed to come for another year to continue to study. I came, and then I was initiated, and like, okay, that prayer, can I have one more year? Year 3, he gave me. But he taught me throughout time, it's not, I can give you the tool, but you need to know what the tool does. You need to see certain things in order to utilize this tool. So there is, yes, we have tools. Yes, we have invocations, but let's say I invoke Archangel Michael, but do I know what it feels like? Have I studied the sphere where Archangel Michael exists? How it relates when it comes. So for example, we're talking about angelic court. Opening the angelic court happens in a specific timing of the ceremony. It's not that I can, for example, I won't do that in the beginning, because if we're talking about ayahuasca as a sacrament, there are phases to the work. There are certain areas. So a very simplistic description. When we start, before we drink, we're in a material world, right? We're here. And then let's say Cody gives us a cup, ayahuasca, I drink. I'm starting off from the physical world. Then I'll go slowly closer and closer to something that, for lack of better words, is like a wormhole. So I'm kind of going faster, faster, faster. And the visions are not so, you can't really explain them. More colors, shapes, it's hard to articulate exactly what you're seeing. So you're going, and it becomes more intense, uncomfortable. Sometimes you feel your body can't move. And then suddenly, after a little bit in that wormhole, you open up, and now you're in the astral. So you're in the second phase. The angelic court happens about another hour after the emergence to the other side of this. So if I'm here calling angels, I'm not there. There's no angels here. It means nothing for me to call them in that point in time. So I need to travel a little bit into the astral, drink more medicine most likely in a second point, so I can go a little bit further. And then the music has to be very specific, and the invocation has to be very specific. The order of the angelic beings that I will call is very specific. So there's a lot of study that I need to do in order to work with the energies that I work with. Often the question, when you are, let's call it in the know, shamanically, then you do need to see something. So it's not just I learned the techniques and the words. The shaman has to see something specific to be able to say, oh, Archangel Michael is here. So he's not going to see a man with wings that has a tag, Michael, angelic court, Michael. It's not like that. But he sees something. He knows how to read the energy in the room. It will be very clear. And he needs to know or see when there are negative spirits and deal with them accordingly. So it's a very deep and wide study, which you learn by observing other teachers that are working in that kind of way. And there's a lot of you need to read a lot. You need to read Spiritism. You need to understand the structures of the different places. For example, you're mentioning Egyptian mysticism, like calling Ra or Hathor, different. It has a structure to it. It has a different order. So it's really studying a lot in order to do that. With that, at the end of the day, it does start with having a pure intention. So if you, let's say, have been really influenced by Egyptian mythology and mysticism, it's not wrong of you to invoke that energy, but because you have pure intention, you experience beautiful things studying that, and you want to offer this to the circle. You are though asked to be very attentive and very, very careful with what you're invoking. Now, what is the challenge in that? Or what are some of the challenges that come with this? When we take any kind of sacrament, we are us serving and the people there are in a suggestive state, which means you influence them with the words that you're saying and the invocations that you're making. Let's say, just throwing an idea. Someone is afraid of angels or thinking, oh my God, entities is scary. You had the best intention. I call upon and I invoke the presence of Archangel Michael, but you just scared them. And now they will interpret their experience negatively or positively. Maybe they are following very strict in a specific religion that does not allow entities. They're now going to be contracted. So it's a lot about who are the people that are around you? What is their system of belief? What do they understand? Do you have representation of an altar that has an Archangel Michael on it or not? Are there lights? Are there candles? There's so many factors into, first and foremost, creating a safe space. There's a lot of pre-talk also. It's like, for example, I mentioned before that in Celestial Heart, there's a lot of mediumship, but I'm not going to drop a person just suddenly, hey, sit here and let's see what happens. I will explain. This is what mediumship is. You're going to see a person that's being moved by spirit. It is a positive experience. It is a beautiful experience. Upgrading the iOS in their phone. I will give them enough guidance about what it is that's going to happen. And even, for example, let's say a person comes and they start shaking. So I will do the opposite of telling them, stop that. I will tell them, that's beautiful. Let it be. Open, relax. So I'm guiding them as they, in quotes, might freak out or afraid that why my hand is moving on its own, giving them context to why is it moving. So like I'm saying, there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle and a lot of different angles that I need to understand as I open people further and further into interaction with spirit. So even in Celestial Heart, when we have deep works of mediumship, it's a closed circle. It's only for people who are advanced and have been doing this for a long time. They not only not freak out, they welcome and they're excited when there's shaking or anything else that's happening. So it's really about context. And yes, a lot of study, which I know I can say that a lot of people who do this work don't always like, but it is a big part of, if you want to open further and further realms of the astral spirits, it requires a lot of study.
Can I ask you about, so we talked about, and we have talked about on the show, that we've encountered extraterrestrials, we've encountered insectoids, we've had surgeries happening, stuff like that. Can you explain what is going on there?
Yeah.
So there are, I don't know everything, but I know some things. So for example, insects. So there are different realms of different realities within the astral, different planes of existence. The most common that we experience is called the celestial court. Inside of the celestial court, we have beings that also, when we say insects or insectoids, that's how we understand them. But like the joke you just shared with us, that spiders see a human in the shower and they're like, human. You're saying, oh my God, insectoid, but maybe they're looking at you and like, oh my God, human, right? So there are different, they look like something we don't recognize, and the closest thing to us is an insect, so we're saying they're insectoids. But they could be super intelligent, and they could be, amazing beings. They just look different than us. So in the celestial court, we have a lot of different elementals, which are beings that our translation of them more so resembles elements in nature that we know. A lot of jellyfish, a lot of snakes, a lot of serpents, could be dragons, a lot of insects. Very common for people to experience is a type of being that looks like praying mantis. Mm-hmm. That's very, very common. And the jellyfish, they come a lot for some reason. and squid, or how do you call it?
Octopus?
Octopus.
Yeah.
That's very, very common. And in that, remember what I said about coming out to the astral? That's kind of the first rim, is the elementals, a lot of them. A little bit after that, and actually one before, and that's where you kind of need to just breathe through that fast transition. You're going through the area that in Spiritism is considered to be the bardo, or the realm of suffering souls. So often there will be 5, 10, 15 minutes that you go through not so positive beings. You're passing through, you're emerging, you're continuing onwards, but will be scary a little bit. And that could look like ghosts or people. After this will come the celestial court, which we often have doctor spirits, consoling spirits, mediumship mentors, more etheric and light beings that will be here. The next one will be the angelic court, and they don't happen in a linear way, like I'm saying. So they exist all together, but let's call it like that. And then angelic court, where we have angels, archangels, seraphim, cherubim, thrones. For example, often people see eyes that are the thrones. So it's a type of angelic presence. Virtues, harmonies. There are many different things that exist in this angelic realm. After that, we have oraculous realms, the oracle. And in the oracles, we have more like Buddha kind of beings. So it's more Hindu deities and gods that will be there. There are a couple more, and then another one which is called the causal plane, where you have, if you've seen the animated movie Soul, there's this calculator guy. So he's in the causal plane. So you have calculators, weavers, couple others, lords of karma. So they exist there. A lot of the paintings of Alex Gray are, many of them are the causal plane. So it's just and then we have in between, kind of close to the causal plane, what a lot of people see in when they do DMT, what we call the gnomes or DMT dwarfs. That's
machine elves.
Machinery. So that's the machinery.
Oh, so that's a thing, the machines.
Completely. That's a realm.
Yeah.
There is, in kind of the center of all of this, a way we interpret that is beings that look to us like cartoons. So there's a cartoon realm.
Yeah.
It's not that they are like that, but that's how the brain is able to interpret what we're seeing. So it looks very cartoony. If you remember the movie, The Book of Life, I think it's called, that it's like it's like a Mexican story.
Yeah.
Like that a little bit. Skeletons with kind of weird faces. That's also a part of, it's a realm. It's a certain kind of reality that we interpret in that kind of way. So and many more. So these are different layers. And as we go through them, what you experience, let's say, again, I'm talking about ayahuasca. So what would be scary for you, insanely scary for you in your first ceremony? In ceremony 50, you wish you go there. Like, wow, that was so beautiful. But you didn't know how to interpret. You didn't have tools. You were just scared of it because you've never seen anything like that. There are realms that are completely touch-based. So you'll start to feel sensations. That's very scary for people. Or you'll start to hear your name being said, which is scary. So it's like, wow, someone Kai, like, where is it coming from?
Yep.
So there's a lot of the process of interpretation that's your study comes into play. And you get scared less and you're more open, you trust, you surrender. So you can interpret and understand where you're at a little bit more. And that's where the journey becomes from being a traveler with the sacrament to a navigator.
Wow.
Now I navigate. Now I know where I am. Now I know how to press the gas a little bit faster, a little bit slower. You also study that your body, you can go faster if you breathe fast. You can go slower if you breathe slow. I'll give you one technique. For example, you're seeing something really scary. All you need to do is flush, let's call it, for lack of a better word, your DMT. So you just close your eyes really tightly and things will shift and you will go somewhere else. So there's a lot of physical techniques that support you in learning how to navigate. Or you don't feel the medicine, you want blood flow in your body. So you just tighten your stomach for a little bit, relax, you'll go somewhere else. So there's a lot of physicality also involved. So as you learn to navigate, these realms open to you in different ways. You know how to go a little bit more left, how to go a little bit more right. This is a little scary for me. Let me shift it a little bit. And also learning with sacraments that you are a co-creator with a medicine, which means it's not just you're sitting there watching an Avatar movie, but you can ask questions, you can interact. The spirits that are coming expecting interaction from you. So if you don't know, you don't know. You watch a movie. But as you start to study, oh, I can talk to this angel. I can understand what they're saying. I can interpret it in certain ways. And that's why also it's important that your guide is leading you in this in the sense of, let's say, the message is move to North Carolina. So if I say, ayahuasca told me to move to North Carolina, it's my job leading you to tell you, maybe she's telling you to play with the idea. Maybe she's telling you, what does it feel like thinking of moving to a new place? So don't, ayahuasca said that I need to move to Brazil. Wait, give it time. So it's important that you have someone that has been doing this for a while and probably did a lot of mistakes themselves out of not understanding, to take you step by step and lead you into a true process of integration. We often speak about integration in sacramental work, right? But we have to understand that integration is the first step, and it actually happens while you're in ceremony. You're already integrating. You're being impacted by these teachings. You're impacted by the experience. So you're starting to integrate a new paradigm, a new point of view. But the next step after integration would be activation. Activation is the actualization of the integrative message. It is not truly integrated until it has become your action. If it's really, I'm thinking about it, or a medicine telling me I need to heal my relationship with my mom, it will only be fully integrated as it gets activated. I pick up the phone, hi mom, I want to talk to you. So there is a bigger process at play. It's not just a vision. It's not just the talking to the angel. It's integrating the entire experience in a very centered place, which is also something we have to guide each other as we work with sacraments. Hey, slow down. Yes, ayahuasca said ABC. Doesn't mean that you jump off the bridge and do ABC. It means play with the idea. What does it mean to you? You're a sovereign being. Ayahuasca said, okay, you also have what you also speak. You're also a part of this journey. So learning to navigate these extremely complex spheres of existence. I'll give you an example. There's one of those universes that's called the Cielas, and that is a universe that's completely built out of water. There's nothing solid there. It's different densities of water. Their experience of each other is completely empathic. It's like underwater. All the fish move together in a school. It's called, right? School of fish. They all go to the left if the water moves left. So people, the beings of the Cielas are absolutely connected to each other. So if you are experiencing a teaching that comes from the Cielas, you'll feel so much love and so much connection. And you'll see your mom as a fish, let's say, and you'll, oh my God, I love her and I need to forgive and all this. And then you call her and she's not in the Cielas right now. She's here in this planet and she's upset with you. So you need to learn, okay, the fact that I had this vision does not necessarily mean that that's the reality. How do I translate it? How do I convert it to something that I can relate to my mom or my friend or whoever? So it's really learning the integrative science of working with a sacrament. It is a process. It is a science that we call it divine science. It's divinity. It's a divine science, something that we take the wisdom from and process sometimes for a very, very long time until actually it becomes actualized into an integrative process.
And are the ETs, are those insectoids, are they on the same plane? Are those
could be
elementals?
So because when we say ETs, right, extraterrestrials, they can be one of all the different these phases. More like alien-looking ones, could be most often like Pleiadians and stuff like that. It's closer to the causal plane. So these are different planes of existence. That is a whole different conversation.
This is what we want to talk about.
Planes of existence, parallel universes, there are so many different aspects. Okay, let's start with the most important. What happens to you when you're taking this cup? You're saying, universe, show me infinity. That's the point, infinity. So there is no end to the study of infinity. You'll never arrive. You'll never get there. It's always more and more layers of the universe unraveling itself and reminding you that you are an infinite soul. So if you're an infinite soul, you can experience infinity in infinite kinds of ways. Also, you can only interpret the reality of what you see in relation to the level of openness that you have already developed within yourself. The story of the frog of the well and the frog of the ocean.
What's that?
There was a frog that lived in a well, and one time he has his cousin, the frog of the ocean, come to visit. And he was boasting, says, I am the richest frog in this area. I live in the biggest well. Says, yeah? How big? Says, to get from one side of the well to the other, you need to jump 50 times. 50. The closest well to here is 10 jumps. 50 jumps, my well. And the frog of the ocean is like, impressive. Yeah, very, very beautiful. It's like, why are you so smug? Like, how many jumps your ocean has? No, let's talk about something else. Come on. How many? What, 60? 100? Says, no, there is no number. It's like, well, how can that be? Like 5,000 jumps. Like, how many jumps do you for the ocean? Says, there is no, it's infinite. There's no way for me to jump from one side to the other. But if you only lived in a well, you can't understand an ocean. It's outside of your capacity of understanding. And that's what often happens to us. We come to ayahuasca, but we are a well. You don't know infinite possibility. You don't understand what it means, infinite amount of beings and universes and complexity beyond your wildest dream. So you are being trained in infinity thinking. You're trained in infinity feeling. You're trained in infinity sensing. Then suddenly this body can feel, sense things that you never even knew are possible for a human being. You shared with me that you experienced the sensation of being hugged by an angel. For the frog of the well, they don't know what is an angel. How does it feel? Do they have wings? Do they have, because I've seen in books, it's not conceivable. But if you say that to someone else who drank ayahuasca, they'll just smile. Oh, I'm sure it was amazing. They don't question because they know that, yes, within infinity, even if they themselves were not hugged by an angel, maybe they were hugged by a praying mantis with wings. So they can conceptualize what you're talking about. And that's the journey, reconceptualizing reality, what's possible for you as a human soul.
This is amazing because the divine science, what a beautiful name. And this is one of the things we love about having you on. And just what we want to do with this show is really get into this, because the phenomenon of working with ayahuasca, as an example, or any plant medicine sacrament, is very superficial right now. Oh, you dieta, integrate, make sure you're not on pharmaceuticals, and it's with the right person in the right place in the proper set and setting. But that's just the preparation around it and the processing and the before and the after. That's the window dressing. That's not going through the window and navigating those spaces no one talks about. And actually, it is a taboo within the community to talk about the divine sciences and to talk about the multidimensional reality of working with medicine, because everyone's experience is individual. And the medicine will meet them where they are and give them what they need in that moment. So we don't want to put our experience onto those people. But if you told me that 10 years ago, that there would be a 10 to 15 minute window where I would pass through a bardo, as I think you called it. We call it always the transition. I don't know how many ceremonies I have squandered so much healing from getting into that space and resisting what I was seeing and shutting down and spending the whole time suffering because I think there's something negative in the space, as opposed to surrendering, passing through, and getting to the good part. So, I mean, what you call it, the bardo?
The wording I usually use is the realm of suffering souls. That's a spiritist term.
Can I say something about this realm? So it's really interesting. Every time I work with ayahuasca, in the very beginning, I go through this one plane that is all black and white, and it's people. And it's like the hell of the earth. It's like, it's people on the streets, like, you know, dying from drugs, and like, you know, like I literally see strippers, and I've seen like all these like different things of all these people that are suffering. So that is a plane that you go through?
You're just describing in extreme detail what I know and read about. But like you said, in most communities, like you said, it's taboo, but not all. There are churches and ayahuasca places that mediumship and spiritism are norm. To understand the realm of suffering souls, we can look at that from different cosmologies. And you described it, so I'll give you an example. You said strippers, prostitutes, women of the streets, like
people on drugs and all that sort of stuff.
No
people
offense.
on drugs. No offense at all.
No.
That is a very specific type of being in Umbanda. It's called Eshu and Pombagira. They are described how they look, how they act, what they come to teach you. Now, often, again, it's our interpretation. So we see them in this way. For example, let's say the strippers kind of archetype, okay? These are could be a specific type that's called Pombagira, that are teaching you how to seduce your darkness out, how to relate to your sexuality, how to relate to your sensuality. Not necessarily these are negative spirits. It's your interpretation or your own relationship to your sexuality that's being asked to what? Be looked at without judgment. Where actually I would say with all sacraments, that's part of your maturing process. The more you can just see without judgment. In the beginning, you're judging a lot, whether it's like you think I'm a horrible person and I did all these horrible things, or the opposite. I'm the best, I'm amazing. And eventually the sacrament leads you into just see it for what it is and learn from what you're seeing. Don't act on it, don't change on it, just see. See, and let what you see impact you in such a way that it will move something inside of you. And ayahuasca is a plant. Have you seen a seed that in one day becomes a tree? It's a process. It's a slow growth that requires time and requires nourishment. So we spoke with Jeff about the fact that when ayahuasca says, hey, Kai, you need to do ABC, for me to really do ABC, I'm going to be at least 3-4 ceremonies waiting to receive the same message. And if it only happened once, then it means it's not that important. It means not really, this is the instruction. That's what I need to follow. So I give it time. And even if, let's say, 2-3 times I get the same message, I still don't necessarily have to act on it. I'm invited to explore. Could be, let's say, I'm asked, because that also happens a lot to people, I need to move to another country. Or I don't like my job, I need to move to a different job. Before you quit, sit with what it means for me to quit, what it means for me to move. Maybe what the medicine is actually asking for you to see is that maybe right now I'm so ungrateful to the job and I hate it, but then you start thinking, yeah, but I actually like the people that I work with. And I really like the opportunity that it's giving me. And maybe I'm not grateful enough for it. So maybe ayahuasca's intention is for you to feel grateful and not to quit. So we can't jump into conclusions so quickly. But back to the realm of suffering souls, I can give you a list of a few different movies that really deeply, deeply show this. If you remember, something that most people have seen is What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. If you remember, there's a part that he's walking through the realm of suffering souls and there's people in mud and kind of stuck into each other in black and white. Another movie, Astral City by Chico Xavier. You just described the scene of what happens there. So it is a realm. It is a specific place where you have to, if you're coming out of material life and into material world and into the astral, you gotta cross this. Sometimes it can be so fast that you don't see it, but you're still crossing it. So even if you don't see it, you will feel it. Your nervous system will experience that yucky, mucky feeling of coming out of this. So let's say I don't know anything about it. The shaman doesn't say anything about it, but I might think, oh, something's wrong with me. Why am I seeing bad people? Why am I seeing horrible things? But isn't it better for you to know that there is a place like that, has nothing to do with you, you're just crossing it as you travel?
That's so helpful, because I would think it was like, oh, I'm you know,
a map.
Yes, I had the cultural program around a lot of this being like witchcraft or whatever. Like it was a dark, bad thing. There was a fear there because I didn't understand what it was. So as soon as I saw the darkness, I reacted as if it was, you know, bad or evil entities or reptilians or whatever it is. Or scary. Like it's a bad thing. Like something is coming to get me, or I'm letting something in. Like and I would react, and I would go into it long hours of suffering. I wouldn't be able to get out of it, and I could not get to the next level until I did not react. So like the only way I could pass through that space was to let it pass and not react, or just listen to it. And the more I listened to it, it would then change into something more beautiful, or so is that how you bypass, how you get through that? Are you saying you just breathe and don't react, and eventually
that's the thing, there's 1,000 ways for you to react/interact with each one of these realms. From where I'm sitting and from my own study with mostly Brazilian traditions, it is better for me to be equipped with as many tools to interact or not, or move through these places. If I'm feeling that I'm too long stuck in that realm, I have a specific being that I will invoke just by saying something in my mind, and I'm out. And there's certain movements of shaking the energy from me, and I'm out. If I have an attachment to from someone from that area, I have a Brazilian tradition from Umbanda. I'll go and I wash my hands in basil water, so water that have basil in them. I go back to my seat and I'm out. So why do I need to sit in that for 45 minutes? I don't have to. There are so many techniques that will help you navigate. So you need to know, identify, and learn what is the proper technique that is related to this. But so we're talking about something negative, right? I'm in a scary place and I want to faster move through it. But I will say also that also is the opposite. You are in gate of heaven to talk to angels, but you don't know what to do. So you're just going to walk around the gate, And I'm like, but if you do this movement and this movement, you go inside and talk to the angels. Would you not want to know this? So it's, again, the Brazilian tradition is more around, let us learn how to navigate with the occurrences. And it's a personal thing. I rather know how to navigate. Someone else says, I want to just trust. I just want to open and trust and lie down and let the experience happen to me. They're not in oppositions. And there are different ways of working with the experience. And I would even say, from my own experience, I needed different things in different times in my journey. There is one, I would say, place where if you have, because ayahuasca is a potentiator sacrament, it potentiates parts of your sacrament. If innately you are a medium, you might find yourself in certain ceremonies where your body, if you want it or not, is going to start shaking. In that case, it is way better to know than not to know. You trying to kind of hold it back or being taught that this is wrong or you should hold it will make it really tough for you. I just got an email from a person in Germany, I think, that is struggling, and in Portugal, is struggling because he goes to certain churches where that is not allowed. And he's like, I cannot hold it anymore. I can't sit there like that where all I want to do is move. All I want to do is shake. So I stopped going because I can't. First of all, everyone's looking at me. I feel shame. I feel singled out. I don't want to go anymore. And I just sent him an information to go to other churches in Brazil or listen, this is one way. There are ways where mediumship is completely accepted and you will be not only not weird, you'll just be like everyone else. There's nothing, it's not a superpower and it's not an underpower. It's just, that's how your connection to spirit is. So from where I'm sitting, the invitation is to always just study more. The more you know, the more you are able to navigate with ease, and you experience different modalities as they interact inside of you. I'll give you an example. What you said. One of the 12 main categories of mediumship is called psychography or automatic writing. And you literally feel like, I can't stop writing. I can't. Like it's going on its own and I can't stop writing. When you start to develop this, and there are techniques to develop this, you'll start to receive letters from other people to other people that you never met and never knew about. And you read the letter that you wrote without any consciousness of, and you're like, wow, how did they know? So there's so many different ways of how mediumship comes. Are you empowering it? Are you supporting it or shutting it down? So it's really depending where you are in your spiritual journey.
I would love to talk more about the realms, but just to go into the mediumship, because we spoke a lot about mediumship before. Do you believe that mediumship is just a name for the evolutionary potential of humankind? So everyone has this capacity and will reach these steps on their spiritual journey if they develop direct spiritual experience and communication? Or do you believe it is individualistic and archetypal for a few?
I personally believe, mostly because I belong to schools that teach it, that it is a part of the human development.
Okay. So this is something that we have come to believe as well.
I'll give you an example. My wife, Jade, so she at first thought that she's not a medium and she cannot do this. And she just studied methodically, like many of us. And now I would say she's probably one of the most incredible ones I know. But if you ask her where she was in day one, she would say, seeing herself today, she would say, I never even knew that is possible. Frog of the well. But it is a methodic practice, which means that it is learned, which means that it's a part of a developmental structure.
Okay, let's keep pulling the sweater thread instead of going back to the bridge. How is it learned as part of the developmental structure? Because the divine science and the map that you just laid out, if everything is self-symmetrical, everything is fractal, then those dimensional planes that map you just laid out, I would suppose that is a map of developing mediumship. That initially, that threshold that you passed through, what did you call it, of lost souls? What was the name of it?
Realm of Suffering Souls.
Is that initially the first layer of developing one's extrasensory perception, mediumship, spirituality, whatever you want to call it? Is it facing the pain? Is it facing our own suffering? Is that the first layer?
Not exactly, because it's not exactly linear. So there are different layers to this. There is the development of the actual form of mediumship that comes to you, which means it develops naturally. Obviously, when you're drinking sacraments, the speed of this grows exponentially. So you experience visions, auditory experiences, intuition, all these things somewhat come online. There are researches in Brazil that show that when we drink ayahuasca, we activate so much more percentages of our brain that we never even knew existed. So there is something physical happening. There is a physical development that's happening in the access to parts of you that have been lying dormant for perhaps your entire life. And with it, there is a whole other layer about this helping you develop spiritually without, in quote, superpowers. So it's not about just visions and talking to spirits, but about understanding human nature, patterning, our wounds, our emotions, our ego, how we act as human beings with ourselves, with each other. So mediumship is a spiritual path that embodies that entire spectrum of, you will learn humility, you will learn communication. I'm talking person to person, not also with spirit, but talking right now just about this reality. You will eventually get to a place that you'll realize that everything that is happening to you within that realm has its reflection here. The Hermetic teaching of as above, so below. Yes, I am talking to an angel, but this is also an angel in the making, perhaps. But how Tanya relates to you is a part of your development as a medium. So your mentor, yes, is in charge of teaching you how to communicate with spirit, but also in charge of teaching you how to communicate with this spirit here sitting in this chair. So the integration of the process is when you can learn the, let's call it magical parts, but directly in the same time, the what we consider non-magical parts, where our humanity within this, our interaction with each other, our understanding of our selfishness. There's so many different layers. So they develop equally in the same time. When you study mediumship, what is developed for you or what is taught to you are both of these things in the same time, constantly teaching you about your own patterning and behaviors. And this is how you move to call this kind of angel. And with the idea that you as a developing medium, even if you ask me, Kai, are you a medium? Like you told me I'm a resident medium. My description of myself would be medium in practice, because it is a practice and I'm constantly in practice, whether I'm in ceremony or not, even here talking to you. I'm practicing what I've learned, how this study has impacted me. And I cannot remove the human parts of the development. I can talk to you as a channeling part with my mentor talking through me, but that is not removed from how I am as a human being. If I'm kind, if I'm present, it's also, these two layers have to happen in the same time.
Something that I always tell people when they go into ceremony, because this has helped me immensely, is that you can talk to the spirits and ask questions. So when I'm in it, if something's happening and I don't understand, I'm like, can you explain what's going on? Or can we work on this? Or can we talk about this? And they like always end up showing me something about it. And I feel like there's like a piece missing that a lot of people don't realize, that they can have the back and forth of telepathic communication with these spirits that can, help them in the medicine, instead of just like you're saying, like being along for the ride and just being like, I'm in it. So is that something that you've...
Yeah, because what you're learning, first of all, it's helping to explain to people, you're not going to have a verbal answer. Ayahuasca, how do I heal my relationship with my dad? They're expecting, Tanya, you should give him a call. It's not a worded answer. The answer could be embedded in the next song that will come up. It could be a feeling. It could be an unexplained feeling of sadness. You just feel sad and you don't know why. It can be an hour later. It could be 2 hours later. It could appear in the sharing circle at the end of day 2. We say, bring the question to ayahuasca, bring your intention to ayahuasca, but don't bring an agenda. Don't tell her, she's a woman, don't tell her how to be and what to say. She knows. Your work or your job is to surrender, open, and listen. Don't try to put words in her, like, how is this going to be solved? What is the answer of the question? Your only thing that you want to do is ask. In Brazil, so the name we use for this plant is ayahuasca. That's let's say everyone knows ayahuasca is ayahuasca. In Brazil, most often we call ayahuasca daime or santo daime. Santo means holy and daime means give me. So holy give me. Why holy give me? Because it's all about learning to ask. If you sit there without asking, it's one layer of experience. You don't have to ask. But the Brazilian approach is ask. Ask. Keep asking. Be open, but don't expect an answer. Ask without expectation. Ask to the degree that eventually you yourself become the question. But definitely verbalize. So I'll share a story with you guys. This happened many years ago. I was somewhat in the beginning of my journey after a few years. And I'm in a circle that I was leading. And I get the message, go to this person and pull on their right foot. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's so weird. That's so weird. I don't want to do this. And he just kept bugging me. You gotta do it. And I'm like, okay, but he's a friend of mine. So let's say I do this, and what's the worst case that can happen? I just pulled on his foot. Fine. Okay, so I do this. So I go to this guy, literally not like a chiropractic adjustment or something. Just like, and he's looking at me like this, and I'm thinking, oh my God. So I go back to my seat, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then at the end of the work, he comes and he says, Kai, I am shocked. I'm like, why? What happened? He says, I've been sitting with you for a while, and I always ask You always tell me to ask ayahuasca for what I need, but I'm talking to like a drink. Like what? That's so weird. Like why would I talk to it? But I had a car accident 10 years ago, and my foot got stuck like that I can't move it like that. It's so painful for me. And I thought, what do I have to lose? Like I'll ask for my foot to heal. Like, why do I have to lose? So he said, have been playing with that idea for like an hour. And then I'm like, fine, I'm just going to ask. And he said, I literally asked like this: if Kai is not full of, ayahuasca, heal my foot. It's the second I do this, you come and you pull on my foot. And it was so weird. And I said, and then what happened? He said, well, after that, for like 2 hours, I had so much pain in my foot. I said, okay, so that's horrible. I said, no, but Kai, look, completely healed. I actually forgot about it. I only realized it now when I put on my socks. So he learned ask, and I learned trust. Trust, follow the guidance. Of course, you need to be the person leading. I don't go do things to other people, but there is a place where you grow in your ability to trust in the asking, because what it implies is that you're willing to grow from a well to an ocean. It's like, I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything. People say, do you believe in angels? Do you believe in, insectoids or aliens? You know what? Maybe I believe and maybe I don't believe. But one thing for sure, I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe not. I'm willing to ask. I'm willing to open myself to the fact that perhaps there's a lot of things that I don't know. And that's what ayahuasca is asking you. Are you willing to just surrender to the fact that you don't have all the answers in your chattering mind, but in the whisper of your heart, there are questions? Are you willing to ask your mind to shut up so you can hear the whisper of your heart? If you do that, magic happens.
Yeah.
We had this experience with the orchas, right? Orishas, yeah. Mm-hmm. How you pronounce it?
Orishas.
And I had a figurine in front of me of Nana Baruke. The goddess of the swamp. And I have never experienced like an entity like that coming in, or whatever. She is a spirit. And she really was like, I felt like pulling me out of the mud and like making me like face a lot of that stuff. And I was like, this is so wild. So can you explain how working with certain spirits, like, do they holding certain energy patterns or?
That's the best part of this.
Yeah?
It's so beautiful because, again, at first when you don't know, you just experience different things. But then as you start to study, there are certain beings that they come and what happens to you in your body, you know who it is. So for example, there are one of my favorite Pretus Velhos. These are the archetype of the enslaved blacks in Brazil. They're very strongly African energy, but their presence, and also it's the same line of Nana Boroke, Oboluae, it's the line of evolution. And you often feel incredible weight that's pulling you to the floor. So could be I'm walking in the room and I will fall to my knees. It is so strong and so intense that I cannot now. I am in control in the sense of if I need to stand up and keep on walking, I can do that. But if I surrender to the spirit, I receive the spirit and I will see things in a different light. So for example, and each orisha or each entity has a salutation. So for example, the salutations to the Pretus Velhos is Salve adore as almas. And that means salutation to those who polish the souls. So when you receive a Pretus Velho and you look at another person, you see them as the most beautiful. You feel like you are their grandpa or grandma, and you just want to polish them and help them and support them. So you feel this waterfall of kindness and softness. And in a different moment, you receive a cabocla Jurema, that comes to teach specifically women, but not only, how to speak up. And you feel like a warrior, and you're like, yeah, you have so much energy and power, and it reflects in your body. And she will shoot imaginary arrows in the air. So every Orisha, every caboclo spirit, there is a dramatically different experience. At first, it's kind of scary. The first time I remember that I received a caboclo in a certain work, I thought I'm having a heart attack because it was so intense. But slowly I relaxed and I learned, and now wow, it's so amazing. So much power. Suddenly you feel like a warrior. In a different moment, you can receive, let's say, Oshala. You feel like a cloud and open and spacious. So it's just different. But then you realize, if I received Nanaboroke, there are so many different teachings. But for example, one of the teachings of Nanaboroke is about aging gracefully. She is the representation of the maiden woman crone. And her swamp is called the Swamp of Tears. It's where all the tears of the feminine have been collected over the centuries.
Oh my God, I was crying like crazy when that happened.
She often comes when women feel that their tears and emotions have not been seen or received. For example. So now, if you are in a room where your shaman studies Umbanda and they realize this, they're going to support you. They're going to salute the being that came to you and basically tell her, come more. Teach this person how to process these tears. If, for example, like in Celestial Heart, we have specific either deities or candles or different things. So I'll tell you, come sit here. And suddenly the tears and the process and the cleansing. So it's an internal, external thing that works with one another. You will be guided how to translate this and what is the teaching behind. And then you will have that, and then I'll share a story about Nanaboroke, and I will not know that you called it in, but you'll hear me speaking like, that's what I'm processing. So who called it? I did, you did. Your mentor, my mentor, we're talking to each other. Your mentor says she's working with Nanaboroke. Can you tell a story about Nanaboroke? And I will.
I had the same thing happen with, I was trying, my intention for that night was to have better communication. And
Perfect.
I was like really like in it. And all of a sudden this voice comes in, it goes, listen, pay attention. And all of a sudden the facilitators were like, and the spirit of communication, I was like, get out of here. This is so wild, but it's so beautiful how it's so real.
It's so amazing.
Which is important also, as we're talking about this, is to understand. We often talk about the role of the shaman or the role of the ayahuasquero. But from where I'm sitting, in the study of spiritism, who is really running the show is your mentor and the ayahuasquero's mentor. The ayahuasquero is important in being empty. Who's running the show is the mentors of the people that gathered. They talk to each other. Can you sing this? Can you do that? So you are as important to the ceremony as the person leading. And also that's why often happens in ceremonies that, let's say, one person cancels last minute. They were not right for the group, or someone came last minute. It's because some mentor needed some kind of teaching. One of my favorite sayings about ayahuasca is that we are each other's medicine. So the group determines what happens and where we go.
Is when you say mentor, is that what people call their quote unquote guides?
Yeah.
Okay. Now this archetype, this mentor, this spiritual mentor, your spirit guides, what are they? Is it your higher self can you explain a little bit what they are in terms of, because it makes me go like, well, what is this? Is it like the movie Soul where higher evolved spirits are choosing to help? They're assigned to help certain souls down here on earth because it's such a difficult school. Is that what this is?
Yeah, the movie Soul is a beautiful representation of the spiritist doctrine. So the people who wrote Soul followed that almost to the T.
Wow.
Someone like me that watched this, I'm like,
us too.
Yes.
we were like, damn.
They did it.
Yeah. It's really, especially the calculator. I'm like, wow, this is so accurate. How they did it. It doesn't look like that, but it's really well done in terms of the teachings of spiritism. It's really, really one-to-one. They did it amazingly. Since we're on this, the best movie is Astral City.
I've never seen it.
That's it. Astral City and Astral City 2, for me, it's the teachings of Chico Xavier. We spoke a little
Yeah.
bit about him before. He's one of Brazil's greatest mediums, but I have yet to see a movie that describes my own experiences of ayahuasca and understanding of spiritism in a more accurate way. It's like, I don't know if it can be more than that. It's really accurate.
We're gonna have to watch that. Yeah, we're always on a quest. Like ever since experiencing the other side, we're on a quest. Like, how do you communicate it using audio, visual media, like arts? To how can
Watch that.
okay, Astral City.
And we mentioned Dr. Spirit, so I'll give another movie that's really scary / mind-blowing. Is called Dangerous Medicine. I'll make sure for you, but it is about a Dr. Spirit, a person named Arrigo, who experienced a Dr. Spirit. The name of Dr. Spirit is Dr. Fritz. Dangerous practice. Dangerous practice. And it is a man in Brazil that started receiving a Dr. Spirit, literally doing operations with people without anesthesia, without nothing. He had over 1 million people that he helped. But see this movie. It will scare you. How is this possible?
Can you explain a Dr. Spirit?
Yeah. Talk about Dr. Citos?
So in ayahuasca, we call them, in the Peruvian side, we call them Dr. Citos, but they mostly relate to spirits of the plants and spirits of the animals. When we're talking about Dr. Spirits, these are people who were alive. Like, for example, I just mentioned Dr. Fritz. So we have the whole story. He's German, lived in this time, like a very specific description of this person who passed away, and he became a mentor that's in charge of helping people continue in the medical / healing field. There are many of them, not just Dr. Fritz. And he comes as a mentor for someone like that person in the movie, Dr. Arrigo, who suddenly, as a regular person, started knowing things that there's no way for him to know. It started with a journalist that came to him completely unbelieving, and he cured him from cancer in one shot, basically, in one moment. So there's a lot of different things that evolved from the understanding of Dr. Spirits, and that comes from Spiritism. But I would just want to answer about what you just asked about the mentors. They are human.
What?
They are not no longer here, right? So there's spirit
Like
that had
ancestors?
a human. What?
Are they ancestors?
They could be ancestors. They don't necessarily have to be. They could be completely unrelated to you. They're in charge of the development of mediumship of your life in this lifetime.
Whoa.
But when we're talking mediumship, it's the broad. So again, you see, I use the word mediumship as spiritual growth. That's what that word means to me. What you asked before, is this everyone has? Yes, it is another name, according to our traditions, to describe human evolution. I call it mediumship because people say the word mediumship like a person with a crystal ball talking to the dead. But when we say mediumship, it implies that this body is a medium for something. It's like this show is a medium to teach, let's say, right? It's an instrument. So mediumship in the sense of instrument. But you are right now experiencing that this physical body is a physical instrument to the spirit of Cody, right? Your spirit is what's moving this vehicle. And one day this vehicle is going to be on the floor, but the instrument is no longer going to be used.
Yeah.
The spirit will keep on going. So according to the idea or the concept of spiritism, mediumship is the divine mission, process of angelification, human growth, spiritual evolution that happens to a spirit that is embodied inside of a body.
This is so fascinating. I just want to say this is so fascinating to me. Because the past few years now, maybe 4, 5 years, I don't know. It was not like this in the beginning, but every plant medicine ceremony now starts the same. And so my eyes are closed and I will see almost like a flash of light in the distance. And I will see silhouettes of beings walk up to me. They're usually dressed in all white and their face is etched out. I can't see their face. And they will sit around me in a circle. They will make a circle. And often they will like smudge me and feather me and sometimes spray. And I don't know if they have changed it to be that because they know I associate that with healing and comfort. That's an energy I'm comfortable with. But they gather around and they in a small circle, and that's how the ceremony starts every time. They circle around me as if we are making our own small circle. And the first time this happened, they grabbed my hands and they raised their hands together, and it was this big victorious moment, like I had reached some sort of stage, and I just wept in that moment. But it happens like this every time. And it's interesting. I did a ceremony again for my friend Jordan, who has more Mesoamerican descent, and that circle, that it was the same thing, except instead of white, a couple of them came in and they had like Mesoamerican like shawls or blankets over them. And it's so interesting to hear you talk about these mentors, these guys, these figures that can be, because I thought they were ancestors. I didn't really know what they were. You know, we're calling in ancestors because we're following our teacher's guidance, and this is what we do. But I never was 100% sure, but now you're talking about how they're working together. So it just gives so much clarity to.
And for example, you just said something. So you see, I'm listening to you and I'm looking for specific words. So you just said it. You said they had like etched faces. Like
I can't see their face.
I heard that too. Yeah.
So now I know that it's mentors. So you see, there's certain things like as I study and I'm learning Spiritism, what you were describing to me it's like you know what, you know this building, right? So if I tell you, if you open that door, tell me what's on the right. So there are like clouds, you know. So all I need to tell you is the room with the clouds. That you already know. So when I listen to you speak, that room with the no faces. Okay, these are your mentors.
That's amazing.
So I have a question because a couple of years ago,
there's a reason to that, and in later stages you will have faces.
Oh yeah, I get faces later.
Not necessarily, but it just means certain kind of. That's another challenge that for us in like Western society, there's like a more level 2. It does not exist like that at all in spirit. Like angels, this is beyond. Archangel Michael is the more or less. So it's not about you will be more and then you'll get the faces. It doesn't work like that. It's the different point of view. There's a reason why they're appearing in this way, not another. So it's also a lot of the deprogramming of have more power if I can get to this level or that. Like all that needs to go. The more you are like, I'm here to learn about myself humbly, to be in service humbly, the more you'll get to see, but not. There's a reason why you can't see. So there's reasons why things develop in the way that they do.
Okay. Tanya, what do you say?
So years ago, I had this dream that I was like moving into like a new place and like, oh yeah, go check it out. And there was these massive doors and I walk through and it's this huge room with a grand piano at the end and a man standing there. And he was like exuding love, like the most pure, beautiful love. And I walk towards him and he looks at me and he goes, Tanya, we're all here for you. And I turn around and the room is filled with people, like filled. So then a week later, it was the first time I'd ever done Reiki. My mom and I went up north to this Reiki practitioner who was highly recommended to us. And when I was sitting in her session, first of all, I knew nothing about Reiki at all. And my whole body was shaking, like could not stop shaking except for my left leg. And I thought that the practitioner was holding my left foot. And I was like shaking. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And she put her hands on me here, but I still felt a hand down there. And I was like, hey, are you holding my left foot? And she's like, okay. She was like, do you believe in like spirits? I was like, yes. She's like, great. She's like, do you believe in angels? And I was like, sure. And she goes, okay. She was like, there is an angel, a male angel that is holding your left foot. And she was like, there are upwards of 60 angels in the room and they're all talking at once, trying to like get information to you. And I was like, oh my God, I literally had just had this dream about this male spirit or male being. And so could that be like an angel that works with me or some sort of guide?
Or a guide, yeah.
It was exuding such incredible love.
The question we try to look for is, how did that impact me? You know, often one of the challenges in the beginning of this journey is like we, even with ourselves, we try to say, do I believe it? Is it real? Is it not real? Later it become less and less important. The question is, how did that impact me, and what do I learn from that? So whether there's really a piano playing angel or not important. That was an information that will reveal itself in some kind of way that will impact your life in a specific moment. All you're asked to is to open yourself to the guidance. And let's say the following day, you see a sign about a piano, and wow, and you stop your car to take a photo. You can't know if you didn't stop there for the piano, you would be in a car accident. Mm-hmm. But you were guided. Oh, wow, the piano I saw in my dream. I stopped. So you can never, that's the thing, that how the divine plan acts, you can't tell, you can't understand. It's beyond, let's say, well, an ocean, it's beyond an ocean. It's beyond something we can conceive. But this guidance allows us to be receptive to the guides that are present in our lives, whether we understand it or not. That's actually, a lot of people who have NDE, near-death experience, and come back, they say that the second they come to the astral, which for them can be a year, they might die for 4 minutes, but for them, they've been there for a long time. But they all say that when they get to the other side, they realize how many messages they have been consistently being receiving from the other side that they completely ignored. So it's like the guide is like physically like in your face, like signs and things, everything is so clear. But that's why we call this place illusion, that we're like barely can see. So our mentors are trying in every possible way. It's like, hey, look for the signs. But it's not just to have like magical thinking, like people say, oh, 222, I'm an angel, 1111. It's actually, often explained in people who study angels, because that people ask a lot, what do the angel number mean? 1111, 222, what does it mean? And the answer is actually that is your angel saying, hey, wake up. You're too ahead in the clouds. Wake up. I'm reminding you, you're here to do spiritual work. So instead of you saying, hey, 1111, I noticed it, it should be like, shoot, okay, I'm forgetting. I need to be more focused on my spiritual work. So it's not a tap on the shoulder. Remember what I said before about the mentor? He's like a trainer in the gym. So if you see a lot of signs, don't only, say I'm noticing angels, but more so say, what am I not noticing? Why my guide is flashing in my face? What do I need to work on? What am I not doing? What am I not following through? What am I not integrating that my mentor needs to flash in myself, 222, 333, 444? So the way I see it is like, imagine I put an alarm to wake up and then I snooze. And then I snooze after 10 more minutes and after 20 more minutes and after 1 hour. Does it mean I'm great in sleeping? It means I'm not waking up. So if the message repeats a lot, it's because you're snoozing. You're snoozing. So when I start to be open to messages from my guides, it is, come on, Kai, you're sleeping. Start moving. And as you develop as a medium, you'll have more and more messages because they're seeing that you're starting to wake up. So let's push further. Let's give more guidance because you're starting to listen. There will be a first stage where your listening is egoic or ego inflating. So, I'm listening to angels. It's a part of the journey. It's okay. It's important even. That will slowly shift into more responsibility until, and there's it's called the mediumship creed. It's kind of guidance to mediums. And at the end it says, may I always remember the gravity of this task and the necessity of which it is called upon. May my service be true and my heart forever innocent. And what that means is that after the egoic phase, and when you start to realize, wow, whether angelic or not, whatever kind of guide is starting to flash a lot, instead of saying how amazing I am, what I need to say is, what can I do? Mm-hmm. What can I offer more? If I'm so in tune and connected, instead of taking it into an egoic place of I'm so tapped in and saying on Instagram how amazing I am, how do I actually actualize these messages? And that could be As simple as if you're really that connected and you're in a line in Starbucks and you're complaining in your head how long you're waiting, you're not listening to your guys, because your guys are saying, look, imagine that person there in the window, they just had a really rough day. And you complaining how long you've been waiting is not going to help. Then be an angel. Take your coffee and say, thank you so much. I can see how busy the line is. I can imagine you've had a rough day. Here's $5 extra. How are you helping the challenge? Are you a part of the problem or you're a part of the solution? So, and you see, it's a simple thing. We're talking about a line in Starbucks. It's not about, oh, let me now go on Instagram, do a live about angel messages. No, be an angelic messenger. Don't speak angelic messages. Be an angelic messenger. Show up as an angel in the world. Offer yourself with the impact of the messages that you receive in your action, in an integrated action, in an activated action. Then, when you live like that, you will receive messages loud and clear. You will hear angels, beings, everything, because they understand it's not received for egoic purposes. It's not for you to feel good about yourself. I often say, people ask, what do I need to do to hear my mentor? Act like an angel. Be angelified. Actually, my number one example for mentor, how do you hear your mentor? When you walk in the street and you see a piece of trash on the floor and you ignore it, you just keep on walking, your mentor just showed you and you feel it, you know, or a beggar that I don't have change. All that time that you're ignoring is an opportunity for you to hear your guide that you just turned off. But if you unturn it off and you see that beggar, and even though it's not comfortable and you need to reach into your pocket and you put the $20 there without expecting anything in return or applause or someone, a lot I see on YouTube or Instagram that people, they stage this whole thing that they give $400 to a person, right? And like they look like a beggar and I'm like, dude, if this is on YouTube, it means nothing to me. Do this without YouTube and then it means something. So if you really start to listen to the messages and you act upon them, you'll hear more. You not ignore that trash and put it in whatever you put it in the trash, you'll hear more. So it is a process. Even Buddha himself said, right, that this world is a world of ignorance. But he didn't say stupidity. He said ignorance. The messages are so loud and clear, so loud and clear. And we have been practicing ignorance our entire life. And that's what we're asked to wake up to. Stop ignoring. And the more you're listening, because what happened over the development of the ego is that the mind has become so loud that you no longer hear the whisper of the heart. The mentor whispers to you. They don't need to shout. They don't need to scream. They whisper.
That was so beautiful what you just said, everything about ignorance instead of ignorance. Me and Tanya often say we don't have an ignorance problem, we have an attention problem. And to shine a light of compassion, there is a war for our attention from all these self-interested entities around the world. And I don't mean like spiritual entities, I mean like the commercials you're seeing and social the billboards media in your face and the person who's trying to, whatever. Everyone wants your attention. That's why a lot of people, the step they will immediately recommend to you first is meditation, to shut out the noise and get with yourself so you can start to get more in tune with that voice. The voice is your mentors that we're calling them. It's so beautiful and everything that's being said is so amazing. One of the things that's so beautiful about ayahuasca is we've been told we're always in ceremony. What plant medicine does is it turns the volume up to what's already there.
That is harder and harder to ignore.
Yes, and I in ceremony have that volume is so loud and I'm still running. And that is always the ultimate lesson, at least for me personally. Surrender, trust, listen, communicate, ask for help. It's the main thing. And because this is such a beautiful episode, just want to take the moment to say to our audience, this is the highest intention of this show. And we really are grateful for you coming on. Our intention is for you to develop your own spiritual compass and communication, for us to motivate you to ask for help and to ease suffering and expedite spiritual evolution. That is our highest intention. All the noise, all the problems in the world, yes, they're problems, but The main thing is our spiritual growth so we can evolve together. And if we're talking about the angelification of the human consciousness, we're talking about, if we're looking at the actions and the behaviors of this phenomenology of angelic intervention, it is a consciousness that is self-sacrificial and intentional around helping and uplifting others.
Absolutely.
So, brother, we love you.
I love you too, Cody and Tanya.
I love you so much.
I missed you.
We
missed
we
you.
did too. Is there anything you would like to end on before we close? Or is that...
No, I just, I feel so happy to be here with you guys because I feel every time we speak, what we create together, the fire that's generated, it's just so loving and pure and innocent. And thank you. I will say thank you, not just for me being here. Thank you for all the shows. Since I came, I watch your shows. Every show you are like that. How your heart comes. And what you just said is, I feel in the show itself, but how you show up, I can feel the little boy inside of you that really wants to help humanity. That's underneath everything. And this little girl that's like, we want to make a change.
We love people. We love people. We love creation. We're all connected.
And it's kind of rare, there's not a lot of people like that left on our planet. And so all I can say is just never give up. Keep doing what you're doing with all your heart, don't let the noise silence the whisper of your heart. You know what you're doing. You are guided, whether you know or not. You are angelifying, whether you know it or not. Just keep going. Just keep flying.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Kai.
As we like to say, it takes one to know one. Okay. I love you both dearly. Jeff, our incredible producer, who's been working his tail off. We love you, brother, who does this work as well. And we cannot do this show without you. Okay. To everyone who's still with us, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, send this to your mother. I say that a lot, but seriously, send it to mom. She loves you. She misses you.
And also make sure to go to KaiKarrel.com to explore more of Kai's teachings, and also go check out his new church, his new legal independent ayahuasca church in California.
CelestialHeartChurch.com.
Yeah, you can. He speaks for himself. And as Tanya would say, she once got a vision in the ceremony, and it was to do this art project where she would spray paint on the sidewalk. Just ask for help.
Yeah, that's what it said. Just ask for help.
Ask for help.
From spirit, for each other.
Yeah,
ask for help.
You can find us on Patreon and
patreon.com/acid for squares.
Yeah, and we're here to help. So ask. Okay. Love you all.
Until next time.
Bye-bye now. Woo!